Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Melissa Cabuzzi, the Chair of the Orange County Partnership. Today is Tuesday, May 20th. The time is now 4:05 p.m. And we're in the conference room of the Partnership Office at 40 Matthews Street in Goshen, New York, Suite 108. This is a public meeting and is being live streamed. Notice of this meeting was published in accordance with the New York Open Meetings Law. I'd like to call to order. I hereby call the meeting to order. I note that the following board members are present. We have Greg Peckham, Sandy Mathis, Mary Beth Binconi, I know. I just said Binconi, sorry, Mary Beth. Susan Dean, Kurt Kaler, and our council, Millen Tyler. All right, therefore we have a quorum. Approval of the minutes. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the Orange County Partnership from our meeting of March 3rd, 2025, which have been distributed to the members. Any comments or corrections? All right, do we have a motion to accept the minutes? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mary Beth, would you like to give us the financial report?
Okay, this will be short and sweet. If you take a look at the balance sheet, you will see that total checking and savings is a little over $800,000, which is a strong liquidity position for our organization. Skipping to the same balance sheet, but to item 2400 on the back, deferred revenue is $305,650. That represents event revenue, which is going to be recognized on the income statement as events are incurred. And then quickly we'll go to the profit and loss. You'll see that private investment through the end of the month of April was $547.80, which is up from $493,000 through the same time last year. This represents a 13.8% increase. Net ordinary income at $140,900.33 through the end of April of this year is up $125,072.87, representing a 12.7% increase in profitability from operations. And my last portion of this report is that net income is $145,547.61 through the end of April. This is up from $134,195.18 through the end of April of last year. This represents an 8.5% increase in overall profitability. The only difference between net ordinary income and net income is the investment account activity.
Okay, do we have any questions for Mary Beth? I note that the April 2025 financial statements have been distributed to the board, and I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's financial report. Motion?
Can you just validate the net income number? Would you have this, Mary Beth? Is that the final number? Just so that we have the 136. Is that?
Where are we looking? The one for right here.
Right in here.
A little
Is
bit
that-
off.
Yes.
Oh, I think it was maybe a typographical error. I apologize for that. So 146,587.61.
Okay,
Thank you for clarifying. Okay, make a motion to accept the treasurer's financial report.
Need a second?
Okay, second?
Second.
Thank you, Kurt. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Right, motion carried. Okay, we need to go into executive session now. I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the financial, credit, and employment history of a particular person. Do I have a second to go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Once he gets going, I can say we're back from executive session.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, perfect.
And that no votes were
time.
taken.
No votes were taken. It's gonna be 5:55 PM.
We're back.
Okay. We are back from executive session. The time is now 5:55. No actions or votes were taken in executive session. Therefore, there are no minutes that were taken. We have 3 items under new business that require board action. First, the separation agreement and employment agreement. I appointed an ad hoc committee of myself, Susan Dean, Mary Beth, Sandy, Ryan, and Greg Peckham to draft, with the help of council, a separation agreement for our current CEO, Maureen Hallahan, and an employment agreement for our incoming CEO, Connor Eckert. In the form approved by the ad hoc committee and distributed to the board members, I make a motion to approve the separation agreement for Maureen Hallahan. All in favor?
Can I do a second?
A second, can I have a
I'm happy
second?
to do a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carried. In the form approved by the ad hoc committee and distributed to the board members, I make a motion to approve the employment agreement for Connor Eckert. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Can I make a comment, because I'm very
Yes.
concerned about the content of this contract. But we can deal with that as we move down the road, but sorry to interrupt you. Yes,
Here's the first joyful public meeting.
Exactly. Come on.
That's great.
10 shades of red. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, bylaws. I recommend that we adopt the bylaws as recommended by the governance committee. I'd like to ask, well, we already did that, sorry. Where's that motion? I make a motion, oh gosh. Where did you guys go with the motion? Did you guys-
Second.
You guys completely messed me up.
No.
Make a motion to adopt the bylaws as just, as
Is recommended. by the
recommended
government.
governance committee and distributed to the board meeting. Make a motion, we accept those changes.
second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, takes us through our voting, and we are going into the president's report.
Sure, yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, Sandy. You wanna go?
Am I
Go.
gonna miss it?
No.
No, drive safely.
Mary Beth.
Great to see you guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Great
Drive
job.
safe. Have
Great
fun.
job, everybody.
Drive.
Good to see you.
Good to
Got
see
it.
you too.
Thank you
See
guys,
you
have
later,
fun.
Mary Beth. Thanks for all your work.
I will not be on the same road as Sandy, so that's.
That's good. You can meet him at the rest area.
Exactly.
So they'll be on different roads.
All right, so I can
Yes,
get
go
right.
ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so it was a very, very active month here for the rest of the Orange County Partnership. You know, for one, it was a heavy transition month, so thankfully, spent a lot of time with Maureen, who's been amazing. And a lot of it was focused on the signatures at banks, right? Working on transferring over investments accounts, 401ks, so highly transitionary, but very smooth. Including like even the Hudson Valley information technology and the hardware and the software. So when we hit on June 3rd, you know, there's no calling Maureen and saying, hey, can you handle the keys to this, right? So it's generally smooth on June 3rd. But additionally, and I'll reiterate, the ABO came out with their bad boys and girls list in March. The Orange County Partnership is not on that list. And in fact, we're one of the good organizations.
And a
according
good
to the,
standard.
Office of the State Comptroller, so
Very
from a
proud of
compliance
that.
perspective,
Yeah.
strong.
Very proud of that. Thank you, Cassie, for your hard work. Millen, Connor, everybody at this table, I'm very proud of that because we only became a public authority in September.
And they were gunning for you.
And they were
Right,
back.
you know.
We were, yeah,
That is an accomplishment.
yeah, thank you.
And we will certainly stay on that list. And also, in addition, busy month, right, we have hired Lucas Arache, who I think you've all met now, as our Director of Business Attraction. Very, very excited about that. We looked, I mean, we got hundreds of resumes, interviewed a lot of people. We wanted someone from the commercial real estate industry, someone with real estate fundamentals and who goes to events, who knows how to do business development, who can publicly speak. Lucas walked through the door as a local talent from Campbell Hall, and it was a no-brainer for us. I mean, immediately, this is the guy. So very excited and already hitting the ground running, working on a mega Amazon project and a handful of very complicated and sophisticated economic development projects. So really excited to have Lucas on the team. and Phil's a really key boy, but also gels really well with the team.
Yeah,
When he
yeah,
came in,
he fits.
Projects, events, fundraising, all the above, it's been great.
Took him to the DOT meeting, he's shaking hands with everybody, he's gonna be part of this team.
Yeah, and I also want to mention, as we, as an organization, look at what are the key issues for us on economic development. It's become very clear from whether we just, at the Site Selectors Guild, or going to Taiwan and meeting with prospects, I think this organization really needs to wrap our arms around workforce and helping lead building a talent pipeline in Orange County. Now, we lack a four-year educational institution. That is difficult, right, to attract sophisticated companies in large part, but we have a sophisticated community college ecosystem. We have training ecosystems across the county. Susan knows this better than anyone else. We can build a talent ecosystem, but we need to, I think, build a consortium of our higher ed institutions and our high schools and our superintendents to try to really tap into the labor market that's often forgotten, which is your high school seniors who have two paths, right? Either the military or the mall. These are thousands of potential students that we can tap into to build a labor force. So I think we need to be thinking about workforce. Very
Just
often.
outside the county, I mean, you've got several higher eds just on the outside.
100%,
So
yeah.
that you can leverage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we look at our market, that's one of the key factors that comes up in every project we work on, validating our talent market. Now, we start now, especially with our new relationships with the Taiwanese and some of the more sophisticated projects we're working on, I think we can really build our own talent ecosystem from the ground up, pooling our educational ecosystem, our educational higher ed institutions across the market.
Yeah.
So more to come on that, I think, as an organization. We also were at a lot of events over the past few months, and we were on the speaking circuit, which was great. I was fortunate to be the keynote speaker at NYSCAR, the New York State Commercial Real Estate Association, and Karasi Realty, and bumped into Susan Dean spoke at the Alzheimer's Association.
They forgot what he
breakfast.
said.
But it was a unique angle, right? It was
It's great.
how does Alzheimer's impact the workforce and the business environment? And it was simply, it's the most expensive disease to treat in the country, $1.1 trillion, $350 billion worth of care spent. There's a growing population of people retiring in their 50s. It's a strain on the labor force. So it was I didn't see it at first, but you dive into the numbers, it's pretty staggering, and there is a direct connection to what we want to do in economic development. So that was interesting. We'll talk more about it, but I was in Orlando at the Site Selectors Guild, and then immediately thereafter, we hopped on the plane and went to Taiwan, which was an amazing experience, and I think put us in a different category of economic development opportunities, which again, we'll discuss more, as many of them are pending real estate transactions. We hosted Leadership Orange. We were the moderators for the day, so we took a cohort of 50 students, including Rebecca from our office and Lucas next year, around the county, and did lectures on economic development and toured projects like PharmaCann, and we even toured a speculative warehouse to talk about what makes this spec warehouse suitable for manufacturing from power perspective, from column spacing and dock positions. So it gave them a crash course on what it means to do economic development and how you do it right. So that was great. And then very simply, we also hosted a delegation of Taiwanese investors who wanted to come visit us after we visited them in Taiwan. So ourselves and the county executive, that poster made by Sarah, our marketing director, was the theme of the event. So it was Invest Orange County. We had 15 to 20 Taiwanese developers who do data centers, who do semiconductor supply chain, life sciences in Goshen for an event. They were going to the Select USA conference in Washington, D.C. They wanted to stop here first. So we had them for a whole evening, and that was great. So myself and County Executive Steve Newhouse delivered a Why Invest in Orange County presentation, which was exciting. So I'll move right into the investor update. Investor and membership has been strong and dynamic. We're seeing a new class of investors, a new group of people who want to be part of the partnership, and our whole team is involved with it. I mean, Cassie is brilliant on maintaining relationships, as is Lucas and Rebecca and Sarah. They all have their own relationships, and we formulate as a group to keep our people and our members from a retention perspective and also an attraction perspective. So 80% of our January invoices have been received, so that's a $565,000 invoiced and $450,000 collected, and we will send out another tranche of invoicing in June to the tune of $275,000. So we're tracking very well on investors and members. A handful of our newer investors are CNA Global, which is a developer, Cedar Lakes, to which we all know, Consigli Construction, Bleakley Platt, they all joined as premier investors. Engineering Design Management, EDM, it's an engineering firm, joined as a distinguished investor. And MDS HVAC joined as our newest senior partner, which is the highest level membership you can have at the Orange County Partnership, in addition to agreeing to sponsor every one of our events. So it was a strong commitment to the Orange County Partnership and our collaboration. And lastly, Cutting Feder, the law firm, joined at a distinguished level as well. So it was a strong membership quarter for us. We're going to keep the momentum rolling. From a marketing perspective, we had the New York State Economic Development Council CEO speak on a panel with Jennifer Waters, who runs the Governor's Office of Semiconductors at the ABG. They included a nice write-up on our ABG event in their statewide newsletter. And then additionally, from a marketing perspective, Sarah keeps churning out our website and working out every little kink and making sure it's designed to the T. So we're excited about, we're continually rolling out a new website, a new branding. Now we're rolling to events. So we had the ABG, which is Ryan Silver from the New York State Economic Development Council, and Jen Waters. We talked about the future of economic development and advanced economic development, particularly with respect to semiconductors. So we had around 140 people, which is quite large for an ABG. I mean, there were 50 people not too long ago, right? It's just continuing.
Oh, this has grown over the years, grown and grown. Yeah, that was a big one.
With two great sponsors, CS Arch, an architecture firm, and Passero Associates, an engineering firm. So the event is also net positive from a revenue perspective, which we're excited about. We had our golf outing, saw many people there yesterday. Great from a revenue perspective and attendance perspective. We netted around $130,000, which is generally on par with how we perform at these events. And we sell out to golf. We do an after party. We had Skinnell Properties fly in from Indianapolis for this event. So widely attended, and from a revenue perspective, highly successful for us again. We have our MVP dinner coming up on June 3rd. We're tracking well on that from a revenue and a membership, or rather an attendance perspective. As you can imagine, we have two pretty big hitters that we're honoring.
Do we have an attendance number so far?
So Rebecca does have that. We're tracking, this could be almost approaching annual event numbers. Yeah, and with that, right, we're putting on a great, so we're tracking to make around the same amount we make for an ABG, or rather the MVP every year, but with 50% more expenses. Because this is, again, the membership, the attendance is so significant, the price per plate is different, the scale is different than the traditional MVP breakfast. So we're tracking, financially positive, and there's a lot of excitement for the event as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have people from across the state coming down, so it's gonna be a good time.
This is the first I'm hearing this, so I'm just but about the numbers anyway. But yeah, we're comparing apples to oranges if we're gonna compare the MVP breakfast to the dinner.
Right.
So, but we budgeted for the year on breakfast, so we're way ahead. Like, we're gonna be not just with MVP, with golf, with ABG, and with all of our investors. So we're gonna be leaving this place, as I promised you, by mid-year, financially, on a really good place.
Absolutely. And then we roll into our investor breakfast, to which our Woman of Achievement has been notified, and we'll send out a press release in the near future. But it'll be Heather Bell, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, who's a key partner to us on economic development. It supports Main Street and small businesses. The synergy there is just, it tells a great story itself, and highly deserving as well.
She was highly deserving. She was so gracious. Like, that was such a wonderful message to deliver.
Yes, it was.
And I was really happy that you chose Heather. I also think it'll kick off our fall season. She's very well liked and respected.
Yeah.
So she's going to be a great draw.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we're already thinking about annual events, videos. We have a few sponsors already for the annual event, which is funny. Golden Shovel is to be determined. We have a handful of really large projects that are close to approval and tracking toward construction. So we will name Golden Shovel as we kind of get closer, longer in the year, we get deeper in the year. But for quality of life, they've been awarded. So that's Atlas Security Services, Scott Perry, and then Spirit of Innovation, Jason Anderson from Anderson Design Group.
They've been notified.
They've been notified. Yeah, they've been notified. So with that, it's been a great month, and would love to, if there's any questions, if there's not any questions, we'd love to go into executive session to discuss pending real estate transactions as well.
Okay. John, my next phone.
Lost the chair. Down low.
All right, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the proposed sale or lease of real property because publicity could substantially affect the value thereof, Do I have a second to go into executive
Second.
session? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are now Ready?
Okay,
Okay.
it's 5:33.
Okay, we are back from executive session. The time is now 5:33. No actions or votes were taken in executive session, therefore no minutes were taken. And any old, I don't have any old business. Does anyone have any old business they'd like to discuss? Any announcements, other than looking forward to seeing everybody on June 3rd to celebrate Maureen's retirement. So, and this is Maureen's last board meeting as our CEO, after 24 years as our CEO of the Orange County Partnership.
It's a
Thank you,
privilege.
Maureen.
Board meetings are open to the public.
I'll be watching.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna be on
Other
the.
things to do.
What?
I said, I hope you enjoy it.
Well, I'm so in love with this place. That report speaks for itself. That's the reason for all of it.
Well, it's what you've created,
Mhm.
so thank you.
It's just, it's a legacy for long beyond my years, you know, and much more to come. So,
Well, thank you, Maureen.
thank you.
Unless there's any other old or new business, I make a motion we adjourn. Do I have a second?